Are you ready for the mixtapes episode?
I was trying to do like a heavy metal growly thing, but it really didn't come off that way.
Yeah.
Coming up on this episode of the mixtapes, you should know this song.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome back.
Just trying to start off with plenty of weirdness to get your attention.
Yeah, I don't think you have to work too hard at that.
Yeah, well, sometimes I doubt myself.
Okay.
I doubt myself all the time.
So, we're back in the outdoors here.
Yes. In the...
You'll hear the bugs in the background. It's kind of warm outside. There's a fan running.
Yeah, you hear the noises. You hear the atmosphere. We're trying to provide atmosphere. It's real. It's not AI. It's real. And we're sitting out here sweating our tuchuses off to bring you the finest curated music lyric challenge game episode
Ever created.
on the freaking history of the planet.
There you go.
It's You Should Know This Song from Reid of APEZ and my buddy
Rayce of Apes.
And we're ready to...
and we are mixtapes.
We are mixtapes.
As
true.
are you. If you're
Right.
listening, you're mixtapes. You might be mixed ups, but you're definitely mixtapes.
You have mixtapes all over you, and
You can't
you
wash it
cannot
off.
wash it off.
My wife keeps asking me to clean that up.
Don't bother trying. So we're here to mystify and baffle and...
All right, so you want to do some nest keeping there, pal?
Yeah, we got a few items, a few things to touch on. I guess just jump into it, right?
Sure.
From a previous episode, those of you who listen in with regularity may have heard us talking about the Dire Straights song, Expresso Love. And I had referred to the song when we were doing the lyric clue exchange as She Was Made in Heaven.
Being the name of the song.
Being the name of the song.
And by the way, just going to say this live on air. This song, this podcast is called You Should Know This Song.
Yeah.
So that's like the third time in 4 episodes.
But it's not
that
called...
that you personally misnamed the song that you had to look up to get the credits.
It's not called You Should Know the Name of This Song. It's called You Should Know This Song. And I did know the song.
Yeah,
but I made
and I didn't know the song.
Well,
and I could
there
say
you
I
go.
didn't know
That's
this.
true.
I could say I didn't know the song because you gave me the wrong name, but I should have known the name.
It's not
the
because
case.
I gave you lyrics,
Yes.
not the name.
Exactly.
So
I was trying.
You too can go
bite it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I know.
So the name of that song, that Dire Straits song, is Expresso Love, and we just want to make sure that is set right. And we're totally surprised that no one shouted out and commented and said, "Hey, you boobs, you didn't get the name of the song right." We're not totally surprised.
Because there's only 4 people listening,
right,
and yeah.
Right.
If you're one of those 4, hi.
Hi, guys. And so also...
and this one is mine, although we can argue this.
It's more of a sort of point of interest to me.
So,
it's not really
we had... you gave me a challenge with the song Killer Queen.
Yeah.
You referenced the lyrics.
It's the first line of the song.
The first line, Moet Et Chandon is what I said.
Yeah.
And he said Moet, and I said, no, it's Moet, it's French. And we argued for a second, then we moved on. And then he did some research and told me how it really goes. And the deal is, apparently, Moet is the last name of the gentleman that started the winery.
Champagnery?
What do you call it?
Champagnery.
I guess so.
I don't know. It's not a distillery.
Yeah, the orchard. No.
Orchard.
The vineyard. There you go.
The grape orchard. I like grape orchard. I'm sticking with it.
The guy that started the vineyard was actually Dutch.
Mm-hmm.
And in Dutch, the T would never be silent.
Correct.
Secondarily, apparently there's a rule in French grammar, and I'm only going by what I saw on the webs, and I saw more than one person say it, is that if you're using the joiner, if you will, the conjunction et, et, you don't ever, even if it's something that's supposed to be a silent T, you don't silent the T there.
Right.
So it's when it's Moet Et Chandon.
Right.
It's Moet and Chandon. Even if the T was supposed to be a silent T, you would still pronounce it because of the et being there.
Right.
So,
and
here's the hold on. Here's the thing. I don't speak English good. You expect me to understand French grammar? Fuck you.
You expect me to understand them Frenchies? I listened to
and Dutch.
The thing that I couldn't let go of. The reason I investigated it all is because I just kept hearing the sung lyric, the Freddie Mercury singing of the line, And after you said that, I couldn't in my mind. I was certain that he said Moet
Right.
when he sang it. But then I went back and listened to it,
and you can't tell.
You can't really discern which way he's going. Which maybe he did that on purpose. I don't know. Probably way too much thought for that kind of thing. But what do I know?
What a wino.
It was less about disproving you, more about going to
find out what the
clarify
hell was...
for myself, and then being like, "Wow, this is kind of interesting."
And there's actually
weird.
like a whole like subreddit thing going on. Like it's not something that where there's no reference. There's like dozens and dozens of not just articles but videos of people, even bartenders going, "Hey, you folks, by the way, this is the way this works.
Right.
I never correct you when I'm serving you the drink, but you're morons."
It's just,
I mean, I literally saw a couple of dozen video references.
Yeah, and that's really what caught my attention, was that there was plenty about it, and maybe not necessarily immediately about how Queen pronounced it in the song.
Right, but about
the actual pronunciation.
Yeah.
And more than a couple of videos with people who were being very, like this particular video that I derived this from, the guy was really sort of adamant, like, okay, this is a battle. And
well, I did see one video that was several different people, like a conglomeration of people speaking on it, and the very last one was a French gentleman said, "It's Moet Et Chandon."
Right.
And it doesn't matter how you say it, you have to drink it. So
right.
What better way to end that, right?
Drink it. So go drink some Moet Et Chandon and let us know how it is, because I've never even seen a bottle.
I have, but I can't afford it. So.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the nest keeping that we
needed to get done.
We just need to do.
We needed to do it.
We gotta make it right. Damn it.
And we've done a couple of episodes recently that had a whole lot more chatter than challenges. So we're going to kind of focus on some challenges here. Yeah. We're going to jump right ahead into that.
We're going to challenge, and we're going to try to keep it to a listenable, a tolerable duration.
Sure.
For
keep
you
saying
guys.
That. Just keep saying that, and
this
it might
time
happen.
we're doing it. I'm just going to cut the whole thing off. I'm just going to. If you hear silence, suddenly it's because time's up.
Okay.
All the power got shut off.
So our first segment is going to be, or our primary segment in this episode is going to be Ask and Ye Shall Deceive.
So Ask and You Shall Deceive is a challenge game in which we turn an aspect of the song or a portion of the lyrics into a question that hopefully leads the other person to have a mental breakdown trying to figure out what song it is.
Sounds good to me.
So why don't you lead off the game and see if you can make me overheat in the heat?
Okay. What happened on the Firefly platform at Sunny Goodge Street?
Holy cow, that is a real oddball. On the Firefly platform at Sunny Goodge Street?
Yes.
I don't know that I have ever recognized those words in a song.
I didn't think you had. I intentionally brought that one in simply because you need to hear. You personally need to hear the song Sunny Goodge Street by Donovan.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Off his second album called...
You know, it's funny, I probably have heard it, but...
I had heard it one time, and it was like, I have to get it. It's off the second album called Fairy Tale from 1965, but written by Donovan Phillips Leach.
Yeah.
Otherwise known just as mononymously. I saw this word today. Mononymously known as...
Mononymously.
Known as Donovan.
Didn't know that was
Cher is mononymously known as Cher, for example.
Yeah.
Prince as well.
Sting,
yes.
etc.
Okay, so Sunny Goodge Street. So what did happen on the Firefly platform? I can tell you exactly what happened.
Please tell me.
A violent hash smoker shook a chocolate machine involved in an eating scene, smashing into neon streets in their stonedness, smearing their eyes on the crazy Kali goddess, listening to the sounds of Mingus Mellow Fantastic. Okay, this is a song with some motherfucking lyrics, dude.
So great. I love it from front to back.
I heard it. I'd never heard it before. I heard it, and I'm like, and I thought he was saying Sunny Goodge Street.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. What else would you relate it to if you hadn't been on the street?
Right, and it's an actual street.
Sure.
In London, I believe. However, it's going to be in the playlist. This is a weird ass song, and it's kind of the music is kind of low key and prosaic, and the lyrics are just out there, man. They're just out there. It makes me want to go just to see the place.
Right, just to find out.
But I mean, it would have been the
describing.
place in 1965. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is
it's,
certainly not going to look the same.
Certainly changed.
It may be a strip mall for all I know now.
Right.
And I
club.
don't know what a Firefly platform is, for that matter. You know,
Right, what is a Firefly?
I have
platform?
I didn't look it up, but there's
some investigation to be done there.
So that's my
interesting. I like that.
That was, again, not because of my familiarity with the song. I've only heard it the one time, but I knew that you had to know the lyrics.
When I get into all of my stuff, everyone is going to realize that I don't have anything that's nearly as entertaining as that for the rest of this episode. So, okay, I will ask you, sir, to tell me what will happen if it keeps on raining.
The levee's going to break.
I know that was kind of a laydown, but I had the
yeah.
song in my head and
Yeah.
the drum part and the harmonica and the whole song. And I was like, I'm going to throw it on there because I want people to hear it and think about it and have it in their head.
Sure.
So, there is, I'll get to the propers here first. When the Levee Breaks, originally from Kansas, Joe McCoy and Memphis Minnie.
So it's something they actually credited some blues tune they actually credited to the original writers.
Well, I had to look that up because in a casual glance on the web, the guys from Led Zeppelin are credited for writing as songwriters.
Yeah.
But Kansas Joe and Memphis Minnie wrote it in 1929. And to my surprise,
obviously
I didn't...
15 or 20 years before anybody in the band was born.
15, right, but before they were even conceived, right. To my surprise, there doesn't seem to be, until Zeppelin did their cover, their reworking of it, there doesn't really seem to be much with regard to covers of this song out there. But then after Zeppelin did it, of course,
yeah,
it's got plenty of people copying it. And no discredit, I'm a huge fan of Zeppelin's version of the song.
So is there a recording of the...
There is an original recording. You can hop on YouTube and you can find the original recording.
So that will end up in the playlist.
Yes, and it's actually really, really enjoyable recording, especially when you listen to... I always love listening to something original up against someone's cover of it if the cover is done with the...
Making it their own.
Making of their own, right. The style has changed. Some of the maybe rhythm has changed, whatever.
A reason to do it rather than just to duplicate what the original band did. Yes, I'm with you. And you've mentioned that many times. So.
Yeah, so that was on Zeppelin 4 in 1971, but there was no album to associate it with in 1929, of course. And it was written about the Great Mississippi Flood of 1927. And then when I went and looked at a little bit of information on that flood, that's an amazing thing to go dig into. It's all kinds of wiki dives here. But one of the most enjoyable aspects that I have, gone and done internet digs on about this particular song, I did probably over a year ago, because the intro drum part and throughout the song, obviously, to that song is so very, very unique. It's very distinct, and stands in that regard to me. The story of how they ended up recording the drums for that is really an enjoyable wiki read. If you don't branch off anything else, it's 10 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
And it is a really enjoyable read on Wiki.
Ian,
to Wikipedia, donate to Wikipedia, donate to Wikipedia. Go ahead, Ian, your son?
My son, is a huge Bonzo fan.
Yeah.
To the point where I believe he even had not the same drum kit, but the same setup that Bonzo used when he was learning to play.
Sure.
And I'm sure he could tell me all about that particular
maybe so. Yeah, that'd be
session.
fun.
I'll have to ask him about that.
Another guest we should have on the show.
There you go.
So that's my...
you did mention the harmonica playing by Plant on that tune specifically.
See.
I did kind of do a little dig myself into some harmonica stuff this week, and I heard it called a Mississippi saxophone.
Oh, nice.
I'd never heard that before, but apparently...
What an apt term.
Yeah, I heard it, and I thought, wow, that's fucking cool and accurate.
Yeah.
You know?
You can just, you can see it, you can hear it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely. And little Walter the amazing harmonica player,
Yes.
is credited with
Renowned.
bringing the harmonica to rock and roll because of a compilation that he did with the Yardbirds
Oh, wow.
that I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And he said
neither
something like, something along the lines of, they said that if they couldn't play the blues, they didn't know what they would do, and they couldn't play the blues. So that's not an exact quote, but it's very close to what he originally said.
Oh, that's
but
worth going to look up by itself. I'd like to just read that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that was totally sideways from where you were going.
No.
Are we done with
that's
your
awesome.
your guys?
That's
Is it
my
turn?
attempt to be as entertaining as your first one.
Okay.
I don't think I
How
made it.
big
but-
an army couldn't hold him back?
Oh, yeah.
And you know this.
I do. I've got Wild Horses stuck in my head now because they couldn't drag me away. And something army couldn't hold me back. Oh, is there another question? I feel like I need a second clue.
No.
It's not materializing. No, I'm not going to get it.
It's a 7-nation army.
Yes.
From the
Damn,
song
I know.
7-Nation Army by the
Couldn't
White
hold me
Stripes.
back.
Or by White Stripes. It's not the White Stripes. I'm sorry. Written by Jack White off the album Elephant in 2003. And check
Awesome.
this out. The song consists of distorted vocals, a simple drum beat, and a bass line created by playing a guitar through a pitch shift effect. So
Yeah.
that dun, 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 is actually not a bass.
Yeah.
It's a guitar through a
Right. That he just
pedal, right?
Right.
Also, that song that you should have known won the Best Rock Song at the 46th Grammys.
That I
And
think I did. Know,
I didn't know that. I am not surprised to know it. Jack White is quite the talent. We've talked about it a little bit before.
Yeah, we talked from time to time. I won't go off on this for just a minute. We talk from time to time about musicians who have had, such an impact, and their fingers have been in everything, and they've just been all over the place. And 99.9% of them are from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, maybe the 80s. Jack White is pages on Wiki already, and the guy's in his 40s or something?
Yeah, there's
Maybe late
a movie
30s?
called It Might Get Loud.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I'm not.
It's essentially several guitarists talking about guitar.
Right.
And in the very beginning, Jack White builds a guitar out of essentially a board, a nail, a string, and something to tighten it. And then plays it.
Right.
Like to begin the show.
Right.
It's really, really cool documentary. It's got Page, it's got David Evans, The Edge of U2, and Jack White. It's very, very cool shit.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, the reason I mention it is because it shows what a talent Jack White
He's
is.
included with those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Who have been playing for, a combined 100 and odd years, probably.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, cool one. Good one. For you, sir,
Yes, sir.
where would you take a straight and stronger course?
To the corner of your life?
That's right.
Is that correct?
That's right.
That's
and then,
a great tune.
And then what would you do when you get there? Make the
White something go back to squares.
White Queen
Go back to squares.
run so fast.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a really cool
Yes.
yes tune with that. Like there's several different timing / construction
It
changes.
rolls into different.
Yeah, very, very.
It's a song
very,
title
very
that
cool
has
stuff.
slashes because
Yes,
they're
it's actually 3 or 4 tunes all rolled
connected
together.
together.
I'm not a huge fan of the singer
John Anderson.
John Anderson's lyrics
Yeah.
because very often they're really kind of
mystical, nonsensical.
they
disconnected.
don't the words don't really work to make a sentence kind of thing. It's much more poetry and even like esoteric poetry. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right.
But that particular one, there's not a bad line in that motherfucker. The whole one.
Right. Yeah, it's really good. So that is Seen All Good People / Your Move. That lyric is out of Your Move. From Yes, obviously. Written by John Anderson. From 1971 off of the phenomenal Yes album.
And the bass lines in that song, Chris Squire is just
That song and so many other Yes
yeah.
tunes. I mean,
he
my
is
gosh.
man, like that original. I believe that's the original lineup.
You gotta give credit to many, certainly all of the members of the original lineup, but many of the people who passed through, like Alan White. What a talent on the drums! How can you think about playing some of the things he's played?
I think the thing
with
is
weird switching time signatures.
And they got some poppy stuff later, and they did some other stuff, but through Yes, and then Fragile, and then all the prog days, and then there was Going for the One.
Right.
And there was another one that you referenced recently in an episode.
90125.
90125, which I don't really know that one much.
Is that it? 90125?
That's it.
My mind just went Beverly Hills 90210.
I'm
It's
sorry.
not right.
And that's not ending up on the playlist.
No.
But, it doesn't really matter, to your point is where I'm going. It doesn't really matter which era or which albums or whether you liked them. You had to be a real musician to be in that band.
Oh, my gosh.
You had to be a really substantial musician.
Right.
Because you had to be able to play a lot of different stuff. And some of that stuff is just insane, man. Some of the musicality of those first three albums it's pure jazz almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, good stuff.
Fusion-y, progressive rock jazz, and amazing. And I'll tell I don't have many, for the past 20 years, stories of going to concerts. But I went a few years ago on a free ticket from some family members who... the person designated for the seat that I was offered came down ill or something, couldn't go. And Yes was playing in town here at the Fox. It wasn't Yes, it was Trevor Rabin, John Anderson, two other members, and I can't remember who the other players were.
Was that the tour with Ponty as well?
I know Ponty wasn't playing at this in particular.
Okay.
And this was some related to a Keishi sponsored tribute performance of some kind for a 35th or a 50th recognition of something, I don't know. But John Anderson came out and did a couple songs, and they were some of the older songs, and of course everything he sings is high register for the most part,
right?
And if not high register, most of it's powerful at least. And after singing a couple songs, he stops and says, "Thank you for being here." And, he's very warm, whatever.
Right.
And mind you, I looked at the time, and he was 75. So after performing these songs flawlessly with the rest of the musicians, he stops to say, "Thank you for being here," so on and so forth. "I want to apologize in case I don't sound quite on. I have a really bad cold." At 75, and he sounded like the freaking record.
From 75.
From 75.
Yeah.
And he's apologizing because he has a cold that no one would have known about if he hadn't said a word. He was amazing. So that's my Yes-related story.
I see, and I saw a concert that among the artists that were there was Edgar Winter was the performer. And he plays sax and sings and plays keyboards. And he was 75 when I saw him. And it sounded like 1975.
Yeah.
His vocals, and he screams, and he does a lot of very high register stuff. And it was just, I went away from that, and it happened to be that show I think was, and I might have mentioned to you before, Paul Rogers and Ann Wilson.
I think you did, yeah. I think I do
and all three of them were, not kids, like 60 plus.
Right.
Ann Wilson being the youngest of the three.
Sure.
And all three of them sounded amazing. And I mean, there was no Mellotron voice modification BS going on.
Right.
It was three rock and roll singers singing their asses off.
Singing rock and roll.
In their old days, in their old age, and sounding amazing.
Right.
It strikes me. I saw Deep Purple at the same venue one year. It was a more recent version, but it was all the original members pretty much except for,
sure.
I think it might even have been Blackmore. But, and the band sounded great, but my friend, actually Wayne, that I was there with, I looked at each other and was like, Ian Gillan needs to give it up. He can.
Right. He's having too hard of a time.
Yeah, he can't hit the high notes anymore. And I'm not taking anything away from the guy. I mean, all of that screaming and singing that he did for so many years, God bless him, that's tremendous. But at some point, it's
amazing to hear someone who hasn't suffered from the road warrior.
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
And from the age.
I mean, it would have been, thank you very much, Ian Gillan.
Right.
Move on.
Right.
God bless you.
Right.
But then to hear these other three
Thank you
artists,
for your contribution, and so on and so forth.
To hear
right.
these other three artists all in one night and just have it be like they're all in that same age range, and they all sounded like it was 35 years ago.
Yeah. How do these things happen?
Sorry,
Absolutely.
to steal your yes moment there.
Not at all. Not at all. All of that is part of the show, friend. I think it's on you, isn't it?
It is, and I'd like you to tell me, what would he like you to know at 4 a.m?
What would he like you? Are those taken from the lyrics? I'd like you to know at 4 a.m.
Yes, and it's not yes.
Thank you, because I was probably at some point going to try to. Is it came without warning? No.
No.
That's 6 o'clock in the morning. No. Nothing.
I'd like you to know at 4 a.m. that things are coming mine. All I've seen, all I've done, and those I hope to find.
Yeah, what is that?
I'd like you to know at 4 a.m. my world, or that's not right. There's something other way about 4 a.m. and he says, my world is very still. The air is fresh under diamond skies. Makes me glad to be alive. Nothing, huh?
I know this song.
Yeah, you do.
This has got to be one of those text
It's Blue
versus
Collar.
verbal. Yeah.
By BTO.
Yeah.
Written by C.F. Turner, 1973. Got to number 68 on the Hot 100. That's one of those tunes that when it comes on, I'm like, I still can't believe it's BTO. Because it doesn't sound like anything else they do. It's almost like a Doors sounding thing as far as the feel of the song.
Yeah.
Riders on the Storm kind of feel.
Right.
Same era, right?
Yeah, but that's not BTO's MO.
No, it's which is driving rock and roll, right?
Right.
Very a little jazzy kind of, the lyrics, the way he does the lyrics. I'd like you to know at 4 in the... I'm going to defer there.
It's a good song.
It's a great song. And
it reminds me of a couple other, mentioning that. In fact, I don't have them in mind, but they're floating around. There are a couple of BTO songs like that are sort of out of their main line, and they are really memorable, very cool tunes.
Like almost better than what they were known for, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
This is off the original, the first BTO album. And we've covered some BTO. We've been down a road on them before, so
yeah.
I'm gonna say, hey, what do you got for me there, pal?
Okay. How do I ask this most appropriately?
Well, first off, keep your clothes on.
Where were you traveling in your fried out combi? And, what were you full of?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't even know if you're speaking English at this point.
You were traveling on a hippie trail, and your head was full of zombie. Traveling in a fried out combi. On a hippie trail,
It's
head full of zombie.
Men at Work.
Yeah. Men Down Under. Land Down Under.
Men at Work, yeah.
Yeah, that song's full of fun lyrics. Anyway. It's Men at Work. Isn't it funny that didn't...
Yeah, I guess I never actually, understood what those words were.
or gave them much
so,
attention.
Yeah, because it's just such a fun song, and the flute in that is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, it
is.
It is. Men at Work from 1981 off of Business as Usual, written by Colin Hay and Ronald Streicher.
He is a strange-looking man, Colin Hay.
But he is a pretty talented songwriter.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
My gosh, if you check out some of what he has written, not only the more than you're aware of with Men at Work, because they're an Aussie band, and so a lot of their activity, is not in and on American radio and what have you.
Right, other than that couple of years when they had their...
Yeah, they had a few years and a few albums, but there's much more there, and there's really cool stuff there.
Oh, yeah. He's just got a really intense look on his face, like just standing at rest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
he totally
if he was standing there talking to you, I'd be going like,
right.
What do you want, man? Back off. A very unusual-looking guy, but there's some of their stuff is cool, and they do some fairly political stuff too.
Yeah,
specific to the Australian issues and.
Right. They have one of my favorite songs of theirs is "Be Good, Johnny." If you don't know it,
Johnny, be good. Yeah, I know that one.
Check it out. It's a really, really cool song. It'll be on a playlist now since I just thought of it. Okay, so I got all that out of the way, and it's on to you and what you got next. I got one more after this. And
I got one or two more here. Actually, I guess we could just go with one. But because this one's so much fun. Why did he have to kill her?
Why did he have to kill her?
And there's a bunch of reasons in the song, but I only grabbed one specifically.
I had to kill her because is the lyric? Do I know this song?
I don't know. Do you? Apparently not.
That's the lyric. I had to kill her because I don't know it. I mean, nothing's
She
coming to mind.
bitched so much she drove me nuts is one of the references. It's Guns N' Roses.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't.
Called "Used to." The song is called "Used to Love Her."
Yeah.
I heard this on the radio the other day, and I had not
It's
heard
not
it.
because I used to love
No,
her,
not at
but it's
all. No. I hadn't heard it in years and years and years. I have lost my place on my page here.
I know only the Guns N' Roses songs that were ever on the radio, and that's it. Never pursued anything further with Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses, I'm going to give you the particulars here, if I can get my computer to properly respond. It was the B-side to Paradise City.
Really?
Yes. 1988 was the year.
Which is hilarious to think of.
Yes.
Of 45 of Guns N' Roses with a B-side.
So I'm going to read to the, this is, I pulled directly off of Wiki, so I'm quoting here.
Sure.
All right. Contrary to popular belief that the song is about a girlfriend of Axl Rose, the song was written as a joke. Izzy Stradlin stated, I was sitting around listening to the radio and some guy was whining about a broad who was treating him bad. I wanted to take the radio and smash it against the wall. Such self-pity. I couldn't deal with it. What a wimp. So we rewrote the same song we heard with a better ending. Rose would later say that the song that inspired Stradlin was from the band Great White.
Oh, I see.
Okay?
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool little story to go along with it. And it will be in the playlist, and there are several reasons why he had to kill her. I'm not a fan of violence or murder, but I might have agreed with him on some of those points. So
that are listed in the song in a tongue-in-cheek, ironic fashion, not in
exactly.
a serious way. Okay, great. Did you get all the prop words out?
I did.
Written by, year, and all that stuff?
Well, hold on. Let's just go back and look. The songwriter is credited as Guns N' Roses. I didn't say that.
Okay.
But,
okay.
And generally, when I see that, I don't intentionally go and look for the names because the band intended that the songwriter be the band.
Sure. Okay, sir. I got one that I hope puts a smile on your face. If you had a mother load, what would you do? It put a smile on your face. I saw it.
Yeah, because I know the song, and I want to say, before I ever spend any time, I want to say it's Badco, but I don't think that's right.
Yeah, it's not right, and I'll give you another question then.
Okay, good.
If you were a fall guy.
I mean, how many times is Motherload used in a rock and roll song? Probably
Never.
twice, yeah.
Or if you were high class.
Oh, it's Alan Parsons. There you go. Thank you for that. Because I know the song.
I know. I knew you did.
I wouldn't want to be like you off of iRobot.
Yeah.
1980.
Close, 77.
Okay,
77.
Close enough for me. And written by Alan Parsons?
Written by Alan Parsons, and you haven't answered the question. If you had a mother load.
If I had a mother. If I was high class, I wouldn't need a book to pass. I know that.
Right.
If I had a mother load, I don't know. What's the answer?
I'd cover everything that showed.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love the lyrics of that song, and I love that song, and I love that album, really, and there you go. I just needed to get that one out here on the
Parsons,
show.
You got to love Alan Parsons, too.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. What a guy. What a story, and we have talked about it.
All right.
Wouldn't Want to Be Like You, Alan Parsons, written by Alan Parsons and Eric Wolfson, 1977, iRobot, just to make sure I get all of the
absolutely.
formalities out of the way. And
all
it's
right.
you for a final round.
The last one?
Yes, sir.
This is actually a laydown.
Okay. I need one.
Yeah. Do you want to see me crawl across the floor to you?
Well, there's no...
That's a question.
It is a question, but
That's
is
from the song.
answer in the song, though? Do you want to hear me beg you to take me back? I don't want to fade away. What's the answer to the question? There's no answer.
There's no answer to that one. I just had to
In
get
the song.
I had to get it in there. What do you know about the song? What can you tell me about the song?
Bell Bottom Blues, You Made Me Cry.
Yep.
I don't want to lose this feeling. That song is... What I can tell you about that song is... there aren't a lot of... I'm going to say that's a blues song, although arguably it's more of a straight out rock ballad.
Yeah, it's blues is in the title, but
right. And there aren't a lot of really, I'm not using the word whiny derogatorily here, but as a descriptor for the emotion and the depth with which the song is, it's just full of anguish, right?
Yeah, right.
And there are maybe in my life a handful of songs like that I have any patience for whatsoever.
Just because the attitude bothers you.
I love that song. Like, I just get absorbed in that song. It's a powerful song, and more than anything to me, a really powerful vocal performance by Clapton. So what do I know about that song? I just know I love it, and I've heard it a lot, and I would hear it
That's
again.
Derek and the Dominoes.
Yes.
Off of Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs.
Correct.
1970, written by Bobby Whitlock and Eric Clapton. And the thing that still to this day, and I've been a Clapton fan off and on for years.
Yeah.
Especially his post-Cream stuff I'm a big fan of. Some of his views lately have kind of really soured me on him.
Right.
I try to disassociate an artist's
Art.
personal life and political views and so forth from the art.
Right.
Because, Picasso was a jerk, and
and there's nothing
what I'm saying?
political about that song,
Right,
or
right,
about
right.
which of his songs can you name that are heavily political?
I guess that would be the caveat. As long as
Right.
they're not making a point about their views,
Their beliefs,
whether it's
their
political,
views.
religious, whatever. I really do try in my head to say, okay, well, the art is the art and the person's the person, and I can't let one impact the other.
Right.
Because if I did, you could find a reason to hate just about everything that you hear.
Yeah, and there are certainly filtering items at the extremes.
Right,
but,
right, exactly.
Right, by and large.
But I will say the thing that still amazes me about him to this day is he is a phenomenal vocalist. And
inarguably.
He, honest to God, thought he couldn't sing. And when he was with Delaney and Bonnie Bramlett in this era, okay?
Yeah.
I believe just prior to
Derek and the Dominoes.
He did some work with them in that same era.
Yeah.
He was having that conversation with Delaney Bramlett, and Delaney Bramlett essentially said, man, you got a God-given talent. And Delaney Bramlett, he didn't say things like God-given talent. He's a religious man.
Sure.
He didn't say things like that lightly. He's like, you got a God-given talent. Your voice was meant to go with your guitar. You need to start singing. You need to let it go and start singing.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, throughout the years, whether it's, the blues stuff that he does, he's got a great blues voice, okay? But some of the more deeply felt stuff, he really does, nail the fucking vocals. Like on this and on...
there's undeniable sincerity in it. He doesn't have, as with a lot of successful artists, he doesn't have a lot of, certainly in his solo stuff, impersonal shit. Like it's,
right.
It's experiential or experience-based personal stuff. So, he's not falsely getting into something.
Right.
Back earlier when he was still into singing a lot of the blues and what have you, there's unquestionably amazing vocals there, super enjoyable. And his voice is, for me, and I think his popularity would prove it out, pleasant to the ear. He can sing AF, but certainly in these songs that he wrote from his life,
right,
that we are aware from hearing the
right.
stories about how they came about, he wrote from his life. I mean, he's in there.
Yeah. So that's the end of that segment.
Yes.
But because of what you were just saying about experiential stuff,
yes,
I do have something I wanted to share. I was listening to a song by Bob Seger, and it was followed by a song by Springsteen. And I couldn't tell you the songs.
Okay.
Okay. But
Can I make two up just to?
No, we can't. But it occurred to me that regardless of how alike their music sounds, they're very much alike in their approach to the music. Okay?
Okay.
Saxophone and piano are very big in both bands.
Yeah.
They both write music about the working man and about how hard it is to get along and to get by.
And the streets.
And the streets, exactly. There's a huge connection there, even though you wouldn't put the two artists together at all.
Right.
Okay? They're largely in the same era, right?
You can in your mind, I immediately recognize the East Coast seasoning in Springsteen's stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's undeniably there.
Right, absolutely.
Versus
the strong Midwest vibe.
yes, Seeger's, yeah.
The boogie tavern kind of a vibe.
Exactly.
So they're very distinct and they don't sound anything alike, okay? But if you actually stop and think about them as artists, they're very, very similar.
Yeah.
And it just struck me out of the blue, apropos of nothing, as you like to say.
Yeah.
Didn't have anything to do with anything. Just hearing two songs in a row, it's like, man, there's like, you could write the same fucking story about both guys.
Good. Right. It's good stuff to chew on. It's interesting to think about.
So
I like the thought.
I just had to get out there and share with you.
I love that kind of. Lord knows I don't ever do that kind of thing. Hey, this just popped into my head 2 seconds ago.
Let's talk about it.
Let me talk about it for 5.5 minutes without making any real point. No, thank you for throwing it in there, and I think it's good shit to think about. And it's interesting, my brain. I know yours to an extent, maybe to this extent, is going to be cooking on that in the background. And next time we sit down, I'm going to have I was thinking about what you said. These two artists are kind of like that. I'm going to have,
or go deeper into those the two artists that I mentioned, or whatever the case may be. Right,
specific songs about
tying
the two
songs
of them.
to songs.
Look at the similarities in these lyrics. You know what I mean? My brain is going to do that.
All right. Well, that takes us to the end of this episode. We did not manage to get within your half an hour, but we're still under an hour.
We're still well under an hour, safely well under an hour, depending on your
version of safe
definition of well.
Yeah.
Under. We hope that this was enjoyable and interesting and fun and all that. It was for me. I really enjoyed this.
Had a good time as usual.
I really enjoyed this set. So thanks, you guys, you apes out there, all of you to a person, for tuning in, for listening, for supporting us. And
are you getting checks? I'm not getting checks.
We just can't thank you enough. I'm talking about emotional support. I don't need money if, it's all in the heart. It's love, Rayce. Okay. I live on love.
Man, that's why you look like you do.
You believe me based on the expression on my face, don't you?
Well, we are Mixtapes.
And this is You Should Know This Song. And I am Rayce of Apes.
You are not.
And that is Reid of Apes.
You are weird now. I can't imagine more than one of either one of us, really.
We interchange identities as apes, often. Thanks, you guys. Check out the website. Check out the playlists.
And donate to Wikipedia. I'll say it this time.
Donate to Wikipedia. I broke him, you guys.
We're out of here. Thank you.
We're out of here. Peace.